Hi there, my name is Raquel. Thank you for watching, and thank you to all new and returning viewers. And today is Sunday, the 25th of June, 2017. And I have some finished objects to show you, and a new work in progress. And that's pretty much it. I'll talk a bit about what's been going on here in Portugal and what I've been doing this week. So I'll start with the finished objects. I was working on this cowl last week. This is the pattern is Volkig by Martina Behm. It's a free pattern on the Knitty website, and you can also find it on Ravelry. And I knit this in Mrs. Robinson's hand-dyed yarn Starlight, which is 100% merino base. And yeah, I really like it. I like the wool is great to work with. It's nice and soft. I've not washed this. I'm not going to block this. Ends have been woven in. I just need to cut off the excess, and then it's ready to wear for in the winter, which is quite some time away still because we've just started in the summer. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. This is super quick knit. It's a super easy pattern. I think anyone can knit this cowl. Beginners, anyone. For the more experienced knitter, this is great. Just potato chip kind of knitting, TV knitting. You just sit and yeah, it's really quick to do. So that's what I finished on Sunday. And then on Monday I decided to cast on a pair of socks. I continued with my Mrs. Robinson's hand-dyed yarn. This is the Cinderella base, so it's a 75, so 75% merino or wool and 25% nylon, and it's like just like lots of speckles, blacks, blues, pinks, and it's quite funny to see that I worked from both ends of the ball to knit the socks two at a time. The outside of the ball was the inside of the ball was a lot more saturated than the outside of the ball, as you can see from the socks. This one had, well, you can see it better on the inside of the socks. This one has a lot more color than this one, which is, I think, is great fun. I mean, you can obviously see that they're a pair, they're just not identical, which is fine by me. I don't mind it. I used the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern just for the leg section. I did a German short row heel, which is the one I usually go either German short row heel or the Fish-Lips Kiss heel. They're the ones that fit me the best. And then a plain foot, and then just a rounded toe. And because the yarn is so bright, like, kind of washes out. But here you can see this is the foot of either sock, and it's pulled in certain places, but I'm fine with that. I don't mind that at all. So yeah, I have a new pair of socks to wear when the weather starts turning really cold, because for now it's still quite warm. I started these socks on Monday and I finished them on Friday because I was didn't have as much knitting time as I had hoped. I thought it was going to be a more quiet week, and it wasn't. I stayed slightly later at the office on several occasions. Actually, Monday I was not expecting to stay till 7:30, but certain events made me have to stay till 7:30, which kind of upset me, but yeah, doesn't matter. It's over with. It doesn't bother me anymore. The moment I leave office, I forget about anything that might have happened during the day. So then I wanted to start a new project on Friday when I finished these socks. I'd already planned on a couple sweaters that I wanted to make. And there's one I wanted to remake because I've worn it a lot, and that's the one you can see here behind me. This is the Hint of Summer by Isabel Kramer, and I did this one that's hanging here in Olivia by Ovelha Negra yarn, which is a 55% merino, 45% cotton yarn. It's a light fingering weight yarn, and it's great. I mean, for it's great for summer. For me, the temperatures we're having now, it's too warm, but you know, anywhere between 15 to 20 degrees, I can wear that no problem. So I sorted through all the colors that I had. I have a whole bunch of blues and purples and greens from other sweaters that I've made, where I've held yarn doubled, or even from that sweater. And I knew how much I'd used for the sweater that's hanging up behind me, which was roughly 140 grams. So I knew that if I had enough of like one color set, so to speak, that I could easily make another sweater in just one shade of color, one tonality. So like only purples, only blues, or only greens. I decided to start with the purples, and I have 5 colors. Well, 4 shades of purple and then 1 bright pink one. Those weren't, and the colors are not really true to color. This is a lot more purple, and this is a lot more heathery purple. These two are, no, this one's slightly more pink, and yeah, the colors aren't really true to form on the screen, but if you go into my Ravelry page, the colors are better there. So this one's number 80, geranium. This is number 15, black currant. This one is number 51, cassis, and this one's number 8, plum, and this one's number 76, and I don't know the color name for this one, so it's just a purple. And my idea was to use the geranium for the shoulder the shoulder section, which was the yellow section here in the sweater, which you saw in the intro, and then move on to the black currant, and then use either the cassis or the plum before I move on to the purple. And these two I'm gonna just stripe in there, so I'm gonna do 1 stripe of the black currant, 1 stripe of either one of these, and I'm planning on doing like roughly 5 stripes of the black currant in between these, and then 5 stripes of these before I carry on completely just with this one. What I need to do now is, because I'm at the point of joining the 2 fronts together now, which I'll show you in a second. What I need to do now is do a couple of, you know, because I'll start knitting in the round now. Do a couple rounds and weigh how much yarn I use per round, so that I know how many centimeters I can, or how many rows I can knit before I need to start striping in one of these colors. So yeah, so Friday I just cast on the, it's done in sections, it's a paid for pattern, so I can't give away too much, but I started off with the back. That's where you start, and you start with the contrasting color, which is, in this case, was the color I was going to use for the shoulders, and then you knit the whole piece down, and then you pick up your provisional cast on, or your stitches, and do the shoulder, which is, like, as you can see, it's the pink area here, and then you just do the front sections. And I did basically all of it yesterday, up to the point where I had to join the fronts and the backs, which I did this morning. So I joined the fronts and the backs this morning, and knit from here all the way to here, and now I'm at the point where I can join and start knitting in the round. And I always knit on like the small cables. I think these are the 50 centimeter cables. Let's see. Where does it say? Somewhere over here. Yeah, this is 50 centimeters. So I like working on the smaller circumference. So that's why I can't really show you the sweater properly, but yeah, this is where it's at the moment. Yeah, I'm hoping to get maybe another 5 centimeters before I change colors, so that, you know, there's a bit more plain knitting just going down. So that's what I'm going to be working on later today. I'm hoping to finish this by Friday, so that I can do the statistics for this quarter like I did last quarter. I've been keeping track of stitch count, and I can tell you I'm already over 1 million stitch counts so far this year, which is quite funny, but yeah. It's just something I decided to do this year, keep track of all stitch counts of keep track of the stitch count of all the projects I knit. So yeah, then because next week when I podcast it's already going to be July, and the Tour de France will have started, we have in the knitting and fiber related community we have the Tour de Fleece, which is what you spin during the Tour de France. And I'm going to participate, but I'm not going to really, enter the competition or anything. I'm just going to do it for myself. I did that last year as well. I think last year I was on a team. This year I'm not going to really join a team. I've joined my Portuguese friends that knit throughout the country, that spin throughout. We're all over the country. So this is what I had. I filled this bobbin up in October last year. And this is 100 grams of fiber that I bought at Gradients Yarns. So I believe it's 100% merino. And it was a braid that I bought that she was discontinuing the 200 gram braids that she had. So I have another one, also Halloween colors, which I want to spin up next as well, so I can maybe put them together. The other ones are more greens and blues. This one, I'm going to show you now the other half. So I still have 100 grams to spin up, and this is my main goal for July, to spin up this yarn. So it starts with the orange, goes into the yellow, and I start getting some purple in here, some hints of orange still going on here, and then more purple, and more, and then it goes into this lovely purple over here. So those are the colors. And what I'm going to do is the same thing I did for the other 100 grams. I'm going to split this up into 3, so roughly 33 grams each, and then start from one end. So I'm going to start with the orange first and work all the way to the purple, and then the next length of roving I pick up, I'm going to start with the purple and go into the orange, and then the last one is going to go from orange to the purple again, and then apply them together. So this is my goal for July, spin up this braid so I can apply this together and have some Halloween yarn for Halloween. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to make with this. Depends on how much yardage I get out of it, but it should be fun. And like I said, if I get the time, I might spin up the other braid that I have with this, and then I also have one other thing that I want to try to finish spinning up, which I started a couple years ago as well, or started last year. I think last year. And this is mohair. This is a friend of mine from California. She occasionally comes here to Portugal. She'll be coming here. She'll be arriving shortly, actually. And she has a whole bunch of mohair goats, and they have to be clipped 2 times a year. And she had a lot of like this roving lying around, which she's lucky enough that she has like a factory or a mill close by that does this for people. So if you have any sheep or alpaca or whatever, they clean it and put it into like this pencil roving for you, which makes it easier to spin up. So and you don't have to do all the cleaning yourself. Because I still have a whole bunch of yarn, a whole bunch of fleeces at my parents' place that I need to wash. So I'm hoping to get some time off in July, and that the weather is warm like it has been, so that I can wash the fleece and get it all prepped to be ready to spin up. So yeah, then that's pretty much it for spinning and knitting for this week. I'm looking to the side because Soot's decided to come up on the table and playing with things he shouldn't play. So, come here, Soot. Come here. No. I didn't mention last week during the podcast because I had just found out about it and was still kind of in shock about the big fire that was raging in Pedregão, which is south of Coimbra. So basically it's in the center of the country. A lot of people unfortunately lost their lives. This was an area where there's a lot of eucalyptus and pine trees, and eucalyptus unfortunately burns really quickly, but it also regenerates really quickly. So towards the end of the year, the majority of the eucalyptus will have started to regrow again. Eucalyptus is used a lot for the pulp and paper production here in Portugal. So we have a lot of eucalyptus plantations here. However, they're not kept tidy. The floor underneath so the ground underneath the trees are covered in the old leaves and everything, and it just burns really easy. So people got stuck on the little back alleys, so to speak, the little back roads that pass through these plantations. Another problem is that the trees go right up to the road. So if we had like on the highways, for instance, you have trees up to about there's a certain distance between the road and the trees. With these plantations, they don't do that. They have the trees right up to the road. So when it started burning, it was what they say was a lightning strike. We had some dry thunderstorms, meaning it's just the lightning, no rain and all that, and that's what caused the start of the fire. And yeah, because people were trying to escape the fire, they got caught on these roads and they died in their cars. Pretty horrific sights, pretty horrific pictures that we saw on the news. Now everyone's blaming each other. However, this is my opinion, but and I'm not really going to go into it because that's not what this podcast is about. My parents also have a eucalyptus grove, and it gets cleaned. I'm not saying you can't help having some leaves and some pines from the pine trees and everything on the floor, but it does get cleaned regularly so that we don't have any problems with fires, because my parents live in an area where fires are a common thing as well. Usually I'm gonna have to remove soot from back here. Hey, complaining? But you were being naughty. Huh? And can you see Rusty back there? Yeah? You there, Rusty? Okay. So anyway, my parents live in a place where fires are pretty common as well. That's all I'm going to say, because yeah, it's not worth getting into. Anyway, I was going somewhere with all this. Yeah, the people lost their lives. Unfortunately, firemen lost their lives. People trying to escape the area lost their lives. People have lost their homes. So yeah, we have been going through a pretty rough week as the Portuguese population. And yeah, I was busy at the office. The fire and stuff hasn't really affected me that much, but that's not to say that I don't feel sorry for these people. Like I said, I have my opinions, which I'm not going to mention here, and people should just stop blaming each other and just get into action. So if the plantation owners were to clean their plantations, this won't help, but then yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. On to other things. Let's not talk about this. yeah, so that's what I was going to mention was yesterday was a public holiday, and now we have Rusty crying. Shh, Rusty, be quiet. Yesterday was a public holiday. It was Saint Juin, and the party for Saint Juin always starts on the evening before, so on the 23rd. And it's tradition. So it's tradition on the 23rd to have grilled sardines with some. It's kind of a cornbread. It's not really cornbread, but it's that kind of thing. Rusty, if you're here anyway, you might as well be my model. So, turn around. Face the camera. Here's Mr. Rusty. He absolutely loves being my model. Not. Right? He doesn't seem to mind today. Okay. So the tradition is to have sardines, to have that with bread, like roasted bell peppers and rice, and then there's also a soup, which is the kalveerd, which is like a cabbage and potato based soup with some spicy sausage in there. I didn't have any of that because I'm too lazy to prepare the sardines. I don't like preparing fish, and I wasn't about to go buy any because that's just, prices are ridiculous. So sorry, so I just had some fruit and stuff. It's too hot to eat the kind of stuff anyway, especially soup at the moment. So I'm sorry guys, I'm being distracted by a neighbor across the street who's looking at me funny because I'm talking to myself to a computer. Anyway, the party, right? Another thing that they do is, any other party here in Portugal has to be accompanied by fireworks, and instead of starting at midnight, they started around 9:30 yesterday. Not yesterday, on Friday. So I took the dogs out roughly around 9:15 because I already knew that there was going to be fireworks, and they get scared obviously when we're outside and there's fireworks. And as per usual, I live on a pretty quiet street. Like I said, there's a block of apartment buildings in front of me, and those apartment buildings are on the main street where the metro goes by. Now, it's not these buildings, but it's the ones next to it that have a lot of people who, they don't have any balconies. So what do? They come out into the public garden behind the apartment buildings where I usually walk my dogs and have their party there. So they set up tents. They bring out chairs, tables, their barbecues, and they pretty much make themselves comfortable for the rest of the evening. So I had to go elsewhere to walk my dogs, which is fine, not a problem. But they leave all their garbage behind, which nobody else cleans up. We have street sweepers that work from Monday to Friday, but the name, street sweepers, they sweep the streets. They do not sweep the pavements. There could be a whole bunch of leaves and garbage on the pavements. They do not clean that up. Now these are people paid by the town hall, which I think they should, they're there to clean the streets and keep the whole area nice, so that should include pavements. But no, they don't. And because it's now a weekend, they're only going to come Monday. In the meantime, there's food lying around, there is garbage lying around because they cannot be bothered to walk 100 meters and throw all the garbage away. In other words, I can't walk my dogs over there anymore. And I won't be able to walk my dogs there for like several weeks because the garbage can stay there. The worst part of it all is that they break bottles of beer or whatever it is that they're drinking on purpose on the floor. They don't like leave them intact or anything or go throw them away in the proper bins. No, they have fun breaking them on the pavement, which this is an area, it's like a pretty large grass field. It's an area where kids play in the summer. They're out there playing football the whole day. It's a place where people walk their dogs. You know, there's birds, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty dangerous, and nobody does anything about it. I've complained to the town hall, and it doesn't help. The street sweepers, like I said, don't clean that up. The only time it gets reasonably cleaned is when the gardeners, paid by the town hall, come and mow the lawn. They like pile all the garbage into one area. They don't take it with them. They just pile it in one area, which then eventually, you know, we have a whole bunch of seagulls around here. It gets spread around again. So, I don't mind people partying, you know, it's up to them. I'm not like a party girl or anything, so that's why I don't go downtown either, because another thing that they like to do is have these plastic hammers that make noise, and they slam me on, complete strangers, on the head with these hammers, and yeah, I don't like that. So I don't go downtown to join in on the festivities, and I like to be in my home, be with my dogs and my cat, and just quietly enjoy the evening. Also because I lived most of my life out of Portugal. This public holiday has no significance for me. Yeah, that's just basically it. Anyway, these tents that they set up, they stay the whole weekend, because the party starts on Friday. Yesterday, Saturday, the 24th, was the actual public holiday. So I went out with them around noon to go for a walk before I went downtown to the knit group, which didn't happen, by the way, but I'll get to that in a second. And they were back there. Some people actually like leave everything in the tents. Other people take the stuff back, leave the tents, but take the stuff back inside. But the majority of people leave their tents with all the tables, all the chairs, all their pots and pans, all that kind of stuff out in this public area. And again, is the whole day spent there, like, you know, tents, food, and I seriously don't understand it. I mean, find somewhere else to do this, or at least clean up after yourself. Actually, the other day, I was walking my dogs, and I nearly got hit by a beer bottle that someone threw out of the second floor window. I didn't have my phone with me at the time, because otherwise I would have called the cops, and yeah, but I didn't want to get bothered. If it happens again, I will, though, because that's just ridiculous. I mean, take your trash out. It's not that hard. I mean, I'm not saying that I take my trash out every day. I, like, once a week, I collect all my bottles, all my paper, you know, I separate everything, and I take it out once a week, and I go throw it out. You don't have to take it out every day. So yeah. It's just what it seems like to me is it's like a lower class of people that live in those apartment buildings, but I don't know for sure. What is it, Soot? What is it? What? What's the matter? Good now. Anyway, so yesterday I took them out for a walk at noon, and then I left them behind at home, and I went to join a friend of mine, and she had some errands to run. I decided to join her, and then we had the knit group that afternoon. However, it was a public holiday, and we kind of forgot to ask last month if they were going to be open, and they weren't. So we cancelled the knit group, and we carried on running our errands for the afternoon. We were later joined by another friend. We went to have some coffee someplace, and sat and knit there for a little bit before carrying on with our errands. And then we came home, and by the end of the afternoon, when we were done, and I got home, and by the metro station, I'm pointing that way because that's where the metro station is, they have old tents from the previous evening also set up with like tables and everything, and they have set up a stage. It's not really a stage. This was like I think it was the water tower. So it's like basically it's the water tank, which is covered in cement. So they used that as a stage. And when I came, there were like people singing already and everything. So not my kind of music, but that's okay. Actually, I can usually hear it in my apartments because that's how loud it is. But if it gets too loud, I just put on headphones and listen to my, or the computer or the TV or whatever, to not get whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've done so far this weekend. I have 2 dogs that need some walking later on. Hopefully they don't want to go anytime soon. I'm gonna go have some lunch now. It's almost 2 o'clock. And I'm gonna carry on knitting. See if I can finish the sweater this week. And then I have to decide what else I'm gonna start, because other than the spinning, which I'm gonna only do in the evenings, I do want to have something else on the needles. I'm either going to make some stuff for a friend of mine that's pregnant, or I'm going to start knitting for someone who has a birthday pretty soon coming up, and that I already know what I'm going to make for her. So yeah, I'll let you guys go. I thank you all for watching and for sticking around with me till the very end, if you're still here. Probably not, but you know. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.